another YouTube video. I'm very excited for today's video, as always, because we are just doing a Q&A while we feed her. And the Q&A is all about birth and postpartum and all the things in between. So I'm very excited to have some questions here, around 20-ish. We'll see if we get that many, but it's okay. Okay, let's just dive right in. Okay, what's one thing about giving birth that totally surprised you? I would say, and this is very different for every single person, but I would say how fast she shot out of me. I didn't know this, but you can only push during contractions. And so I thought this would be, because for most of my friends, it was like a 3-hour plus like thing. And quite literally shot out of me. Like literally I pushed for 8 minutes and then she was out. That, talking about like totally surprised me, that. Second question, what did you pack in your hospital bag that you actually used? I wish I could grab every single person on the planet and tell them to bring a heating pad. I really do. That is the one thing that I'm like, if I didn't have anything in my bag, that is the one thing I would send someone back home for. It was phenomenal. I truly don't know what I would have done the week after and the night after I gave birth, because it saved me. It really did. Bring a heating pad in your hospital bag. Number 3, what is your take on the rest while the baby sleeps advice? Does it work? At first, no. And then yes. So like no, because you're like, oh my gosh, are they dead? Like, are they breathing? Am I doing this right? Like, are they swaddled well enough? Are they too hot? Do they have, a fever? Are they too cold? Is my house too cold? And then you are also like bleeding and you don't feel good and like all these things. And so some people are able to sleep while the baby sleeps at first, which is awesome, but I feel like it takes a little bit of time just at first. Next question, what was the hardest time of day in the newborn phase? We're still in the newborn phase. And how did you cope? Well, we are 6 weeks in, and I would say the hardest part of the day is not the nighttime, because I feel like she sleeps really well. We say that her witching hour is anywhere from like 7 to 11. Sometimes it's just very difficult as far as that goes, because she like randomly wants more food. She starts cluster feeding, all that kind of stuff. And you're just like, why are you screaming? Like, what's happening? So I would say probably that is the hardest time of day, like anywhere in there. Cause like also we're tired from the whole entire day and we just like want to go to sleep soon, but we're like, will this ever end? Will we be able to sleep? And then she always pulls through. She does. She's the MVP. And then number 5, what helped you emotionally in those first 2 weeks home? We got to go home, I'm not joking, like maybe 25 and a half hours after giving birth. They obviously have to keep the baby for her 24-hour like tests and stuff, but for the most part, we got to go home really fast after. So we were thrown into newborn phase, like obviously ASAP, like everyone else. I would say what helped me emotionally, it was very difficult emotionally. I would say having my mom come with us for the first 2 weeks was awesome. She just like taught me things, and she just like knows how to encourage me in a great way. And like, just, she's a mom, so she can look at me and be like, hey, you're doing a good job. And I know that she knows what she's talking about. So that's always nice. And obviously my husband, that's like an absolute no-brainer. Truly could not have done it without him. My king. Literally just like, whether it's taking her, filling water bottles, getting something to eat, just like, I don't know, just like mental support and stability when I'm like kind of losing it. There's a fly around here. Anyways, that like truly, he's the man. I'm so glad I married him. Okay. What is my honest review of the postpartum diaper situation? Okay. My honest review is the hospital gives you what they can, But I need to show you like my postpartum kit and like what I used. So I will probably insert footage. Okay, let's talk postpartum. Now I forget what the question was, but I'm just gonna go over everything as far as like self-care goes. The first thing is I think that the big like Freedom Mom like kit is good. I don't think you need it. What I would get, and here's what I used. Okay, so when you go to the hospital, or when you are in like postpartum care at the hospital, they give you a giant diaper like this, and you put this like in here. This does not absorb anything. These are just to hold this in place, okay? So they give you like a foaming thing. It's a antiseptic skin cleanser, and it just like cools down there, which is nice. I personally like the Freedom Mom one more. I think it's literally the same thing. This one just freaked me out because it's like pink. And so it made me think that like I was bleeding a little more than I probably was. As soon as you can, I would suggest getting and swapping to adult diapers. It just like makes you feel like you're wearing at least underwear a little bit, and just makes you feel a little bit more normal. And no one told me, like truly no one told me how to take care of myself until I had a follow-up appointment after, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm just continually bleeding. And then they were like, oh, here's what you do. So a lot of it for the first couple days was like trial and error. How you take care of yourself is take your diaper, and you have one of these cold packs, which is so great. You open it, you crack it, it's kind of glow stick, and then you shake it up a little bit, and that just makes everything cool. This is like a thicker period pad because you obviously need somewhere to put the ice, right? So you would have this and this, and then on top of this, you would have your witch hazel pads and or your Freedom Mom like wipe pads. And then you would just like spray this on top of it. And then that would be like cooling and great. And then you would spray this Dermaplast on yourself. So you wouldn't spray it on your pad, you would spray it on yourself. Also, when you go to the restroom, I had 2 of these. The one they give you at the hospital, everyone is right. Don't use that, you don't need it. Actually, you do need it if you don't have this, and I would suggest getting this. I had 2 of these, and you fill them with warm water. I used one while I was peeing every single time, and then I used the other one for just like cleanup, if that makes sense. So I would use this one just to kind of like dilute my pee, honestly. And then my other one would be used for like blood and other things, just like basically the function of a bidet. But I have a bidet, and its pressure is much softer and you can control it. And my bidet is cold water. So this was nice having warm water. Then after 2 weeks, I swapped to like just regular period pads like this. They're just a little thicker. The hospital gave me some of these, so I used these until these came in. These are just a little thicker and like just like bigger and like a little clunkier. So I like these. These had little wings on them. I don't like wings, so I wouldn't recommend that, but just a normal period pad. And then as you're bleeding less and less, you just obviously need a thinner pad. But I pretty much had these, and then at night I would just sleep in the regular diaper with no pad. And I would still apply Dermaplast to myself. Also, I would say that I am out, or else I would show you the bag, but having salt baths, I'm not joking, for the first 2 weeks, 3 times a day, morning, noon, night. Cannot recommend enough. Warm water, salt, without any essential oils. Like you just need the plain salt, like nothing crazy. You should find it in the store. I use the Dr. Teal's one. I guess I'll put a picture right here. And I'm not joking. I think that made a world of a difference. And then I was telling my OBGYN that I was just like in such pain, and she was like, 2 Tylenol, 2 Advil every 4 hours, or whatever the bottle says. If you get a stronger one, she said, do it. And I said, aye, Captain. That's just my personal doctor. I'm not a doctor, so ask yours. But if you are feeling pain, if you are feeling whatever, go ahead and explain to your doctor what you're feeling, because they're here to help you. So I would say those are the things that really made a difference for me and how I kind of like worked through them. So yeah, okay. Back to the video. My review is that is my review. Next question. What products actually made your life easier in the first month? Products that made my life easier. Heating pad, obviously, like we said before. I think postpartum diapers, not from the hospital, awesome. Ice packs, awesome. I had to dry up my breast milk. And so I would say like ice packs definitely helped. Cabo cream helped. And also, this is not like a product per se, but we did a meal train or it got put on for us, which I'm really grateful for. And that was awesome. We didn't do it every single day. We did our meal train to be Sunday afternoon, Tuesday and Thursday. And it was awesome. It's been awesome because it's still going on. And we've gotten to see people. It like keeps us in the loop and still social, and we get food out of it. It's awesome. The newest one is probably a baby shusher. It's literally $35. It's such a ripoff, but it's so worth it to me at least. And then also get a good stroller set because ours obviously like came with the bassinet. And I really recommend that. Like I've been going on morning walks and it has just like helped with everything. Like it helps you feel good in your body. It helps them. Like they need to be out in the sun. You need to be out in the sun. It's been really, it's been really helpful. She's literally trying to fall asleep right now. Next question is, how did you handle feeding and what helped with the pressure or the guilt? So we chose to formula feed. Fraz really left it up to me. He said, whatever you feel most comfortable with and whatever, so love him for that. And I would say I have never really felt a lot of pressure as far as breastfeeding goes. I was adopted and so I was formula fed, so it just was never like a really big deal. I think it just progressively got a bigger deal. Like just the older I got, I think I just started paying attention more and hearing about it more. But none of my friends who breastfeed are like making me feel less than because of it. So many of my friends have been like, yeah, breastfeeding was great, but literally like I had to switch to formula just like for my mental state. There are so many different stories that people have. So I think just like babies, every single story of feeding is very, very different and every kid is. So I would say we handled feeding. I was gonna try and pump and do formula, like kind of like do a little both and situation, but she just took to formula really easy. And I was like, you know what? Let's just dry up the milk. Like we're all good. It is not that deep. So she's doing great. And it also is very helpful because anyone can feed her, which is great. So when people come over to visit, they feed her. My mom has fed her. My friends have, obviously Fraz has, I do, duh. So I feel like maybe I should have a stronger opinion on this, but I don't, sorry. Next question is, what's something small someone did for you that meant the world? I don't know, this sounds really cheesy, but like really anything Fraz does that's like, even the small stuff like I think is big. So like when I go to put her in the car seat, like the straps are cleared out. Like when I don't know, like when I sit at the bedside to like feed her or burp her or change her, like whatever, like I look over and my water bottle's filled. Like it's really small stuff, but like he, since the beginning, just has been the best, like the best. I would say as far as like birth maybe and postpartum, like that's not my immediate family. I had a friend, her name's Bethany, and she like asked me if I had some like ice packs for my downstairs for healing, and I said no. And literally that day, like within the hour, she was like, hey, Walmart's coming. Don't be alarmed if someone like comes on your front porch, like it's just from me. And she had sent me those ice packs, and she had also sent like cookies and like a couple other things just like very thoughtful, where she didn't have to like come and knock on the door and be like, hi, you know, it's me into your home the first day. And then like I said before, like the meal train, I think people just like signing up is so nice. And so I love that. The next question is, how are you drying up your milk supply? And I am drying up my milk supply. It's already dried, which is great. I started pretty early, so that was awesome. I tried to pump to relieve pressure. Do not do that. Literally don't do that. I am telling you, just power through the pain that you're gonna have. It's much better, because I think I, you know, tricked my body into thinking that I was starting to breastfeed from pumping. So don't do that. I have ice packs and Cabo cream. I tried iceberg lettuce. I took Sudafed, I took Tylenol and Advil. Like I had like a whole schedule and regimen. I'm not joking. I will literally put it right here. It was very intense. Like I went on TikTok and I was like, you know what? We're drying this up. We're doing this. This is something I can control, because I feel like through your healing process, you almost feel so like you can't control anything. I had a 2nd-degree tear, which is not that bad, but it's still like healing is so crazy, because you like mentally feel ready to like get up and go. You want to like do stuff for your kid, but ultimately like you have to, girl, you have to wait on your body to be like, yes, and your doctor. So that was like one thing I could control. So I was, is she sleeping? So, hi, there's a burp. So I was just like ready to go and get like something done. So I had I went on TikTok. I found every doctor and non-doctor trick of the trade. I combined all of them, which probably was not like super healthy for me, but whatever. And I did them. And I'm not saying you should, but I am saying it worked for me. Do what works for you. Ask your doctor. I'm not a doctor. Next question is, what's one thing you wish you had prepared before the baby came? Oh my gosh. I wish that, and this is not actually a big deal, because we fixed it in a matter of, I'm not joking, like 5 minutes. But I hadn't thought about the fact that like we would need all of her stuff like downstairs in our room with us. Like, why did I think that that was like, what did I think that we were going to go upstairs for every change? Like, no, that's so stupid. So I wish I would have set up like a little station for her sooner, but it's totally fine that we didn't, because quite literally it took 2 seconds. And I will hopefully insert footage of like a little tour of our like diaper changing like station thing. Hello, surprisingly this is a couple hours later, but we look exactly the same. She's just a little more upset. Anyways, okay, welcome to station. I don't really know what to call it. This is the center, the hub, the place to be, honestly. So usually our bassinet right here is on either side of the bed, but I just wanted to bring it here and just show you kind of like what it looks like. It has a couple blankets in there, and it has a puppy pad. You'll see a common pattern with the puppy pad. I think they are so portable, so absorbent, so wonderful. So I highly recommend taking puppy pads in your diaper bag. We have one in our changing pad, one here. Like, I'm gonna put them in the crib. They're just so absorbent. Anyways, okay, so first we have a cart right here, and I'm gonna have to point with my toe. You're just gonna have to be okay with it. So we have diapers up top with our hand sanitizer and just like diaper rash cream. In the second level, we have replacement puppy pads right here. And then we have all of her onesies that like fit. The third level is right here. It has sleep sacks, and it has like little like pouches. And then it has also a wrap. So that's honestly, the wrap takes up the majority of it. On our TV console, which is now converted into a diaper changing station, we have obviously the changing pad, and it's really cute. And we have the puppy pad on top of it. Honestly, the Kikaroo is awesome, but I just don't want to spend the money on it. And the Kikaroo is kind of like at an angle where if they pee, all the pee kind of collects at the bottom, which is such a wonderful idea. So we don't have that, but I do have a puppy pad that absorbs everything. So it's kind of like collecting at the bottom. And then we obviously have Aquaphor, a rectal thermometer, always have a passy like on this little side. You have so many pacifiers, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, suddenly we've never had a pacifier before in our lives. Where are they? Where are they? But I like to keep one here stocked where if worst comes to worst, I can grab one here. So mentally that just helps me. And then obviously we have our skin sensitive wipes, which are great. And if you make your way over here, I call this the bow tree because it has a bunch of bows on it. She has the whole color of the rainbow and then some upstairs. But these are all the ones that we've been grabbing recently with all of her outfits. And then this empty picture frame will eventually have a picture of her in it, which is so sweet, or all of us or whatever. It'll have a picture in it at some point. And then also, I forgot what's in my hand. It's called the Windy. It helps, it's from Freedom Mom. It helps like, I don't know, like clear out their gas. So usually I have two right there as well. We're charging her Owlette, which we actually have never used before. And then her diaper genie is over here. So that is kind of like our little setup, which is nice. I feel like that's it. It's pretty uneventful, but it's needed, you know? Oh, and then this board. So full transparency, this is like a weight loss. All of these sticky notes, this wasn't here a week ago, but it is now. It's just like, I want to get down to what I was before. And there are, you can see, there are quite a few Post-its underneath that. So the goal is there. The goal is there. It's looking at me every day. But it just keeps my brain in check. I think I probably should take some stickies off. But I kind of don't want to take stickies off until a whole row can be taken off, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Anyways, and then before the hospital, I put a sample schedule of a 1 to 2 week old. Just like keep in perspective how everything is like moving and shifting and changing, like as far as diapers and feeding and hygiene and naps and all that kind of stuff. And then under that I have Bible verses, which are so needed because sometimes I just get discouraged or I get frustrated or I don't want to show grace to myself or whatever. And I'm not joking when I say it really just does keep everything in perspective. And it is so encouraging. So if you are about to have a baby, or, you know, if you're about to have a baby, or, you know, just in general, honestly, even if you're not about to have a baby, put scripture somewhere in your home. Like, just do it. I think it is so helpful, so useful, so encouraging. And yeah, out of anything on this board, this is what you need. Like, truly. Thank you. Bye. But yeah, and also like putting blankets in the bassinet, having extra blankets and stuff. I just wish I would have like prepared because thankfully, praise God, so many people have like given us things and hand-me-downs and gifts and like all that kind of stuff. So in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, like we need like blankets for her, not only to swaddle her in, but like just for her to lay down on. We had a lot for me to go through, but I still had to go through them. So that was just like stuff that I hadn't thought about. Duh, you know, like she doesn't want to lay on a bare mattress in her bassinet. Like, what was I thinking? But it's okay. It's all, again, like I said, not that big of a deal because it was literally fixed in a matter of 3 minutes. So how did your relationship shift after becoming parents? You just become like more in sync almost, like, and you're kind of constantly thinking about another person, but you also have to be proactive on thinking about like your person, if that kind of makes sense. Like we're changing diapers, but also thinking like, how can I serve my spouse? So I think we just became even more selfless. So if anything, it gets better because you also get to watch them become a parent, which is really fun. And you're just like, I'm getting emotional. And you just look at them and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm so happy I picked you to be my husband. And hopefully he thinks that about me being his wife. So I think the love just grows and the responsibility obviously grows, but also the selflessness has grown as well, which is really sweet and fun. What made you feel like yourself again after giving birth, even if it's just a little bit? Okay, 2 things I would say for this. I would say the first thing is getting dressed and like ready every day. Yes, it takes a little extra time, maybe 12 minutes, maybe. It's really not, like I'm not putting on a ball gown, like I'm just putting on, you know, this, a tennis skirt, running shoes, and a sweatshirt, you know, doing my hair half up, half down, not straightened or anything, and just like doing makeup. But it still makes me feel like me because I feel put together. And I think that was really nice. And also something that makes me feel like myself is like moving my body. And so I think we have like established a little walk routine when she first kind of wakes up in the morning. And so I have loved that personally. Even if it's just a little bit, that's like something that I think has kept us feeling like ourselves. And also, Fraz and I will say, I will brag on us, we are really good. Hi. We are really good at like going out. We call them field trips. We're really good at taking field trips every single day. And so we will go out and we will walk around at the mall. We will go to a new coffee shop. We'll go get lunch at like Chipotle or whatever. And then also when friends have invited us over, we can't go over all the time, but we try and say yes as much as we can. And whether, you know, hi, whether he goes to play pickleball or I go to someone's house or we both go to like a movie night or something and we need to take her, like we try and make it a priority to still be and hang out with friends. So I feel like that is very important as well. Obviously she needs to be in safe and okay environments, but yeah. Okay, we have a couple more questions. What did you eat on repeat postpartum that felt easy and nourishing? That's a good question. I think I still need to find it. I had trail mix, but I don't think that's very nourishing. I think that's just like what I munched on. I love grapes. So like any kind of red seedless grape, like give it to me, absolutely. But I ate those before postpartum. And I would say like eating like an actual meal, I love a good salmon Caesar salad. Like one thing about me, if there's a salmon inside of a Caesar salad, I'm gonna eat it. That is probably the nourishing. And to make it easy, get it from Tzatziki's so you don't have to make it. How did you manage visitors or protect your recovery time? It's very difficult for me sometimes to talk about boundaries and all that kind of stuff because I am pretty good at them. Like I have no problem saying no. I don't mind hurting people's feelings. I use air quotes because they may have their feelings hurt, but like this is your first child. And so it's like, man, it's for once, it's not about you. So, but no one in my life really is that invasive, which I'm really grateful for. And as far as like managing visitors, like that's your husband's job. Like you're supposed to be with the baby. Yep, that's him. So he's supposed to usher people out. He's supposed to say, yep, you know, we're gonna feed right now, so we'll see you later. I think as far as managing visitors, I think the meal train really helps because you have already put a limit on what days people can show up, and then people have to sign up, so you mentally are like, oh, this is who I'm gonna meet at the front door, and this is who I'm gonna ask in, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So very fun. Next question is, what's one piece of advice you'd give to a friend who is about to have a baby? I would say whenever you whenever you metaphorically want to punt your baby across the room because like they won't stop crying and you don't know what to do or whatever, I would say like 3 things. The first thing is to just like make sure all the basics are covered. So, you know, do they have a fever? Are they hungry? Do they need to be changed? All those kinds of things. The next thing is let them sleep on you. Like to me, I don't know if this is right, there is no such thing as spoiling a baby by holding them too much. Like, no offense, that is crazy. Like that literally is crazy. So hold your baby. And yeah, it's sometimes like you're like, man, I just want to do something. Or my baby doesn't like a wrap. She doesn't like being wrapped anymore. That's not great for me. My arms are stronger than they've ever been, but like at the end of the day, like I watch videos on TikTok and I will sob to them because the baby will be a toddler or a 7-year-old or whatever, and every single time they're like, just like cherish where you're at. And so I would say cherish where you're at whenever you just like get so frustrated. And also, there's no problem with setting the baby down for a second, letting them cry because they're already crying, and going and taking a minute for yourself. Like, go to the restroom, do what you need to do. Obviously, make sure the baby's safe, whatever. But like, everything's gonna be okay. Like, also remember that it is their first time on the earth. You know, like they're like, when you feed them, like they're literally learning how to use their jaw and their mouth, and like they're swallowing, like everything is new. So just be like, oh, you're not being mean to me because you're yelling. You're crying because you don't know anything and you can't talk. So they're just people, you know, and you're supposed to help them. And I know it can get frustrating, but next question. How has your view on your body changed after pregnancy and birth? I am trying to bounce back. That I feel like there's no such thing for a lot of people, and that's okay. But I'm trying to really hard, but I'm also not like limiting myself or anything like that. So, but I am trying to be active. I was telling my husband this, like we did IVF, so I feel like I was not able to move for a literal like whole year. Like you are just so, and by you I mean me, I was just like so petrified because they're like, yeah, like you can go on walks, like you can do really mild stuff, and I did not want to risk anything like at all. So I like just sat on the couch and I felt like very like I trapped, honestly. And so when I had the baby, I was like, finally I can move. This is awesome. And so I have loved being able to move my body, and I'm so grateful. And so I just like want to practice that gratefulness by moving it every day, even if it's like a 1 mile walk in the mall. Awesome, like amazing. If it's, you know, I'm walking circles around my house with her in my arms, awesome too. Like I just want to like, you know, use the body I have while I have it, you know, and just like practice that gratefulness. And I would say when I look at my body and I'm like, man, this is not the size that I was before, or I try and put on pants and I'm like, great, they don't fit still. I think about her and I look at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I grew that. Like I grew her heart and her head and her brain and her fingernails, and like it's just, it really puts in perspective. Like when we look back, like we always look back at pictures and we're always like, man, like I loved how I looked then, but like I hated in the moment how I looked. I feel like it just puts in perspective. If you remember those feelings, you're like, oh, let's be satisfied with our body. Like let's be okay. Let's be okay with how we look. So there's that. And there could always be something better, less stretch marks, you know, whiter teeth or whatever, but it's like, you know, it's just not that deep. Like let's make some memories. And if we can be fit while doing it, like let's teach our kids to, you know, do burpees and, you know, eat well, and, you know, but with the thought that, you know, we are honoring God with our bodies, and it's not about like looking good and feeling skinny. It's about being healthy and, you know, making sure your body is treated like a temple, if that kind of makes sense. So that's my viewpoint, I suppose. What did postpartum recovery really feel like, physically and emotionally? I would say physically was horrible. Like, yes, please take Tylenol and Advil. No one told me coming out of the hospital how to take care of myself. So it really was just trial and error. I am not joking. So I was really going through it. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, it was horrible. And that was because I just didn't know what would heal me fast enough. I also have never been in the hospital, never really had anything horrible happen to me, thank goodness, where I just I've never had stitches. Like I just didn't know the recovery process. And so I was going mentally crazy because mentally I was ready to get up and do things and I wanted to be just like there for her. But my body was like, no, 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 you have a dinner plate size wound inside of you. Chill. And I didn't want to chill. Like my third day, I was like, we should go on a walk. We're gonna go on a walk. We went on like a 0.25 mile walk, just like down our street and back. And I feel like that just set me back like 10 days, like not even joking, because I just did too much too fast. And that doesn't even seem like a lot to me, but it was, and that's not okay. They say that you should do 5 days in bed, 5 days around the bed, and 5 days like in your house. I don't think I did that. After the walk, I just, like, I think I like popped a stitch. So I had to like go back in, get an appointment with my OBGYN and be like, hey, I think one of my stitches popped, like I'm bleeding extra. And she like had to cauterize it. Like it was a whole thing. And I think it's just because I took it too fast. And so my advice to you is just take it slower. So that really sucked, but I promise after the 14th day, the 2-week mark, it like when day 15 hit, I mentally felt like a new person. I was like, oh, my body feels better. Like I feel better. Like this is awesome. Not amazing, but way better. So the night of was probably like, this sounds horrible of me, but they tell you about the hormone crash that you're gonna have. And in my head, I'm like, oh, that's just for people who don't know how to like manage their emotions. Like they just get emotional because they don't know how to handle them. I know how to handle my emotions. I'm totally fine. The hormonal crash that you go through is the wildest thing I may have ever experienced emotionally. Besides maybe my dad passing away, like it was so many hormones so fast. I was sobbing and then I wasn't, and then I was like feeling so much anxiety and like depression. Like it was crazy. So that was wild. And then I felt a lot of despair, probably like 5 weeks in, and just for like maybe 24 hours randomly, or just like when my blood sugar would drop, honestly, I would just look at Fraz and be like, I just feel so sad. Like I would just like look at her and feel so much like blankness and apathy. So that was just very weird for me because I don't usually have those emotions, but they're real. And I think the hormones are wild, and they still will be wild because I am still postpartum, but I feel much better than I did. But I think the important part about that is just communicating through it. Like, hey, I think I'm feeling sad right now and I don't know what to do with that. So I think just being upfront, honest, communicating through it won't get you through it. Like it won't get, you can't go over it, you can't go under it, you can't go around it, you just have to go through it, you know? So, couple questions left. This is the last question. What do you never want to forget about this newborn season? That's such a looming question. Oh my gosh. I would say I never want to forget. I think just like that this is only once. Like you only get this once. Every single stage of their lives, like you only get once. And so I think it's also remembering that it's just a season. So like when you feel really tired or whatever, remember that caffeine exists. And remember that you are just in it for a season. And that also, like you and your partner, it can be really easy to like be against each other and like nip at someone because you can't get mad at her. I mean, you can, but like you can't verbally fight, you know, with the baby. That's silly. But that you and your spouse are on the same team, and let someone hold your baby if you need to shower or go do things. And yeah, but you guys are on the same team, and it's not bad to ask for help. You're not a bad mom for asking for help or asking for reinforcements or whatever. Like my mom has helped so much. When she was here for the first 2 weeks, I would literally look at her and be like, how do I do that? Like, what do I do? Am I doing that right? Can you do that first so I can watch you? Like ask all the questions in the world and just give yourself grace and give the people around you grace and give your little baby grace. Okay, I think those are all the questions. If you have any more questions, I would love to answer them. This is not me. I should have maybe had this disclaimer at the beginning, but this is not me being like, here's my thought. I am an expert. I am amazing. I do think I'm awesome, duh. As my friend Andy says, no one should be a bigger fan of you than you, because no one's going to be. I'm joking, obviously. If you want to know, I will gladly share my thoughts and opinions, but that is all that I have. Get an epidural if you are contemplating it. If you're not set on like a home birth or like a unmedicated birth, epidurals are awesome. And note that every single like birth is different and every single baby's different. So what works for her won't work for you. Or maybe it will, I have no idea. But there's a lot of resources out there, so use them. But also remember that people on TikTok are not doctors. So don't let them trick you, unless they are a doctor, but you know what I mean. Okay, thanks for coming to another Vlogtober. Thank you for coming, and we will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.